Welcome back to the final day of DreamHack Open, live from Stockholm. We started the day with 16 players and have already lost 4 of them, guys. Like that, instantly.
Just like that. It was so quick, actually. Amazing. That Su versus Ryung game was way too fast, Apollo. Way too fast.
Way too fast.
Actually too fast.
Not entertaining games, Moonglaze.
I'm actually insulted by what has happened so far. Su is ruining this tournament by playing too good.
In control. We watched that game. You called every single move behind stage. You were like an oracle sitting next to me. Do you foresee Su winning this tournament?
I think if you had to pick a horse, he's your best bet. He's got a lot of Terran strewn about in front of him. We had Patience beat out Jockey, which was interesting. Didn't get to see those games, but he seems to be fairly, to borrow the term you used yesterday, unstoppable. But honestly, like I thought Polt had a pretty good chance of giving him a fight because Polt has a really strong, fairly unorthodox TVZ. It's obviously not like completely unorthodox, but he plays a little bit different. But he got stopped by 4GG, and 4GG, I would rather have Polt against Su for a better chance. I think Su's still the vast favorite against all these guys, but there's people that had chances, and now they're kind of getting knocked down.
All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket just to confirm the games that have already been played and to also recap a little bit closer, as we do have a bit of time here before Jaedong versus Classic starts, our next game on stream. But you talked about it just now, Jeff. Patience, 2-0 versus Jakji. That's a surprise, is it not, Nathanius?
Yeah, Jakji, I mean, he's one of those guys he was very active, heavy, aggressive, Terran versus Protoss, as I'd say, you know, for Terran players recently, they've been enjoying it. You kind of end up, we mentioned this yesterday, it's a very straightforward matchup. Patience was one of our dark horses in the DreamHack Open last year.
Yep.
He's kind of, you know, he's had an okay year so far since then, but he's certainly not the guy that I would have looked at and said, yeah, he could beat Jakji in this tournament.
Well, he's eliminated Jakji there. It was the
Jakji's
finalist
very
of the
up and
last
down,
stop.
though.
Yeah.
Jakji, like, you know, you go back as far as his GSL final against Lenok, and that's some of the best TVZ play even to now that we've seen. It was just remarkably good. In the interim between that, in the middle stages, there's been some huge ups and downs. There's been big swings. I remember a Home Story Cup where he was really putting it together and playing really well, and everyone's like, wow, Jakji, where'd you come from? And then, of course, in the WCS system, I think a lot of people expected when he moved over to WCS EU to just start kicking ass, him and Yoda to just be the guys. But it really hasn't been necessarily that way. They're doing very well for themselves, of course, but European Protosses and others, they take series off these guys. So for Patience to 2-0 him in a short best of 3 first thing in round of 16, that doesn't blow my boots off. I'm pretty okay with that. Patience, phenomenal control. He too is a little bit up and down. You know, you go back to that DreamHack last year where he was that dark horse in the middle stages. There haven't been gigantic tournament wins. He's just kind of always been near the top with great micro, great stalker play.
Well, he goes up against Su in the next round, and Su so far continues his undefeated run. He's pulling the Tasia from DreamHack Summer. Do you think he can do an undefeated run all the way to the finals? I mean,
I think so. Yes. Against a Protoss, he has shown that his ZVP is sick, beating Zest, beating Classic on the way to here, beating Zest before this tournament. Still very, very convincing. Obviously, his ZVP is in very, very good shape, and Patience is... I think he's going to have a very hard time trying to take a game off Su.
Does he have to cheese him? Does he have to try to win it early, like cannon rush his cheeses? Or how does he even approach to play a player like Su? How do you do that?
I don't even know.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
If I knew, I'd be beating him myself.
Well, I mean, the one thing Su does show a lot is that he prefers going like Ling Muter style against Protoss. Maybe he can play against that. Maybe he can go like very early Phoenix, catch him off guard. Play to that sort of strength that we've seen a lot of Su's ZVP lately.
Patience is a Gateway Expand or Nexus First followed by Gateway Protoss player. He wants to like instigate or threaten timing attacks off the 2 base, and he's just very control-oriented. So right now is not the time to reinvent the wheel for him. We should not see Forge openings. We shouldn't see him just trying to just do really weird, crazy things for him. He should have that intel that Su is a very well-known Mutilating Corruptor player. Like, that's just what he does. And it's really strong, and that's why he does that. So with that being said, look to, you know, base your mid-game on a lot of Stalkers and add those Stargates, too, because we've also seen with Su just plowing through, you know, Zest in stats.
Yeah.
If you don't have if you don't switch to the Stargate play eventually, he'll just run circles forever, get up to like 7 bases, and then just flood you with stuff.
Patience has that magic thing that happens for him at DreamHacks. I mean, you just think back to his DreamHack Winter last year when he went through, you know, Innovation and MMA and all these players down in that lower bracket to come up to challenge for the title there. He's got it within him to pull up upsets, and I think this one, if Patience was to win, is probably going to be the upset of the tournament. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, Patience last year, it was all about us underestimating him, his opponents underestimating him, and surely Sue goes into this match saying, "Who is this guy? Like, I've never played this guy before, obviously, and he's not the kind of guy that we see."
Lucy Prime.
Well, you know, if ever there's the underdog story to be like, maybe he can do it, this would be it for Patience. But I also agree with you in that you don't look at your opponent like Sue and be like, well, maybe I should just completely change the way I play this game because he's so good. That's not.
It'll be even uglier.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's the vast underdog. Let's not do the caster thing like, oh, I could go either any given Sunday. No. Sue's got this 85, 90%. But it'd be really cool if we had some controversy because so far it's been a 2-0 beatdown fest right and left. We haven't had a whole lot of really cool dramatic series. Like the closest we've came is the Kane PVZ where it's like base trades, but then it was still 2-0 actually.
One probe slips out, but it's still a 2-0.
All right, well, let's move on to the bracket once again here and just kind of look at the next couple of results that we had in. Pult versus 4GG. Nathanius, does that surprise you? Expected? I mean, you follow Pult day in, day out in America.
Oh, man. You know, Pult has played quite a bit of Terran versus Terran over the course of the last few months, but it's been shaky. The series that he's been able to win in North American tournaments especially have come down to very aggressive, explosive openings. 4GG has always been good in TVT. Pult's been shaky. He's mixed his style up a little bit and taking series off players like Tasia, dropping series to players like Bomber. Those guys are also equally inconsistent lately. Maybe Bomber less so, but he lost to Bomber. But 4GG he doesn't really mess up TVT. That's his thing. And when you enter the arena, it's like you have to play Terran versus Terran against 4GG. I'm not surprised that Pult drops the series.
He's been a sniper.
Yeah.
He's always been well-rounded and good, but it's always been his TVT that distinguished him, I felt.
Yeah, definitely.
And this goes all the way back to, I remember epic battles between Puma and him going back to NASL season era.
Wow, yeah.
And it was just like, oh, you got 4GG? You know,
goodbye.
luck.
4GG's always been the guy that if you want to learn TVT, if you're like, I need a build that stops this, just watch 4GG play. There's like probably actual thousands of his games available to watch because of how much he streams. He does not do anything crazy. He's just good.
All right, well, before we talk about the upcoming game that 4GG will play, let's briefly go over Mana and MMA. We spoke to Mana at breakfast this morning, and he told all of us, he was like, well, I actually thought I was going to lose in Group Stage 2, but how the hell did I land in the round of 16? And unfortunately, he dropped again versus MMA. He played MMA a few days ago in WCS, and again loses 2-0 here.
2 SCV pulls.
Draw.
Yeah? Is that what it was?
Yep. Just 2 straight-up SCV pulls. A little bit, you know, it's hard to use the word disappointing because losing to MMA should never be considered a disappointment. It shouldn't be like, oh, shame on you. I mean, you just got done playing him. MMA is a son of boxer, for God's sakes. Like, he could play 10 more games and realistically lose a majority of those 10 games. So it's unfortunate that it's been on the big stage with WCS EU and now here at DreamHack.
Yeah.
But still finishing round of 16, I think for a foreigner with this field of players, tip of the hat. Not bad.
And MMA 100% is going to BlizzCon now. With his win yesterday in the round of 16, it pushed up to 95, 96%, which is like, yeah, you're probably going to go.
Yeah.
But it's 100% now. He's definitely going to BlizzCon.
Very nice.
And I think that's a lot of weight off his shoulders thinking about the last couple of months, right? Because he failed to perform in Season 2 in WCS. He finished in the round of 32, and then he had a lot of work to do. And he's actually managed to do it, which I think is very impressive.
Well, winning that last DreamHack helps a lot, that's for
Yeah.
sure. So he's obviously in very, very good form right now, and I'm sure he's going to do very well in this tournament as well. Just seeing how he's been playing so far, and coming off a DreamHack win itself is just huge.
It's another Terran. It's a guy that's had a legacy throughout all of StarCraft 2, going back to Wings of Liberty.
Yeah.
He stated that he wanted this, and he fought for it, and had a lot of fans kind of fighting behind him. It's really, really cool. It's just a great story. BlizzCon, those 16 guys are going to put on an absolutely amazing show. So for him to be a part of that, and he's a fun player too. Let's not forget, his aggression. I mean, that's the word that almost kind of subconsciously escaped you yesterday when talking about him. It's actually real. That guy just exudes aggression. It's really fun to watch.
So then, this leads us to MMA versus 4GG, a game that is a preview of what's to come as well, because it's meant to be played in the round of 8 in WCS Europe, and I'm pretty sure both of these players were like, all right, well, I'll think about preparing for you after DreamHack, and now they're playing against each other right here, right now, later on today.
That's amazing.
That's so funny.
So how does that affect you? I mean, think about this. You're going up against somebody you've played so often because they have had a massive rivalry in team leagues for a long time.
Yeah.
You kind of I imagine that you're just like, okay, I'll think about that after I play DreamHack, and then I'll come around to practicing for that. But then you get thrown into the deep end.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you approach this series now? You haven't prepared for it.
Well, the one good thing that I believe it is 4GG, for MMA, is that 4GG just played it at TBT. He played against Pult, so he's got a couple of some games that he can go back and have a look at. He can talk to Pult, be like, hey, what did he do? What's going on? And from there, he's got like a little bit of an edge just from the latest sort of game pool that he can kind of look at and get an idea of what he should do.
It's interesting because sometimes this will happen where there's one massive tournament that you're qualified for, like a WCS, and then you hit in like a qualifier or something like that, and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to do bio each game. I don't really care. I'm going to make a bunch of Marines. But this is this DreamHack Stockholm, actually. Are either of these guys qualified for winner? That's actually very
MMA is 4GG is not.
All right. And 4GG is not looking at WCS, so he needs every win he can get. He wants to win both EU and this. So I think that they're going to go balls to the wall. I think they're going to do their best.
4GG definitely, with Winter on the line, has more to fight for. MMA probably just breathes a sigh of relief after the last series, knowing that he's guaranteed now to go to the last two big finals of the year. So at this point, he's just playing for prize money, for honor, and 4GG is good enough at TBT that you can't be disappointed with yourself, but then you also have to look at, you still have to play him again, so you want to try.
Yeah, well, 4GG does have that outsider's chance for BlizzCon too. If he was to do very well here and very well in WCS, he could steal Snoot's spot as well. But let's talk about the second half of the bracket now. We have 4 games that we're going to be covering. Well, we'll be covering one, of course, community streams covering the rest. The next game coming up, guys, is a big, big game for us. Of course, Hero vs. Life, Saxry True, and Bunny Solar, big games in themselves. Of course, it will be covered by our community streamers, but our game, Jaedong versus Classic. This is a series Jaedong must win to go to BlizzCon. He wins this, he secures his spot at BlizzCon. He loses, we aren't going to see the Dong on the main stage at BlizzCon, Jeff.
Well, we might not.
We probably won't.
Well, I thought he still has like a 60% chance.
50-ish. You want to flip a coin on if he goes?
What's the probably not then? What is that? It's dead even at worst.
I don't like coin flips. I want to be secure about my position at BlizzCon, and he does too, Jeff.
I'm just saying, yes, I agree, but the language you're using is very different, my
Jeff,
friend.
I'm trying to set a very intense...
He will not. It's like 50%.
He needs
That's
to win
ridiculous.
this, Jeff. He needs to win this. Can he win it, though, is the question.
Can BlizzCon get pictures of these players?
They're all
BlizzCon,
very
DreamHack.
faceless.
Yes, huge match.
Very huge.
We had a typical completely irrelevant spat about the numbers, but Jaedong wants to go to BlizzCon. He swung for that fence. He's pointed to the outfield. He said, I want to hit that home run.
Yep.
To fall short here would be something he's done in the past as well. And then on the other side, there's Classic. Classic had revenge taken on him from Sue. He is not in these GSL finals. He is kind of quietly one of the Protosses that's like, hey, I'm one of the best on the planet. People are like, no, it's Rain, it's Parting, it's Zest, it's Hero. And he's in class like, what? What about me? And it's like, well,
you lost in the round of 32 in Season 3. You were
just
GSL
won a
champion and then
GSL.
you lost
Who cares?
it straight away.
Exactly.
The players have had different routes coming up to this match so far. Jaedong less impressive, but he's also been able to build a lot of confidence against the players he's played, right?
Yeah.
Jaedong's gone for Ryung 2-0, which is the biggest game that he's played so far. Wellmu and Pig are the other two players that really stand out on his way to the round
to be
of
honest.
16.
And no disrespect to them, Wellmu and them, they're very good foreigners. But having just beat Ryung, who we just saw, unfortunately put up kind of a poor performance where he got trounced by Sue, it's not that impressive. This is his first big test.
Yeah.
And if Jaedong, like we've said, we've said this for years, having watched him, but it's like, there's two different Jaedongs. There's the one that kind of just fades out or gets dominated by Tasia, like it doesn't even look close. Or there's the Jaedong that can beat anybody, and he does it with flavor. What I do like about what he did against Ryung was he went back to those Jaedong roots. He proxy hatched, he cheesed. Like, that's actually Jaedong, guys. He's a cheesy Zerg. He's going to need that against Classic, who's one of the most rock-solid Protosses out there.
Well, Classic has showed a little bit of weakness, but all due respect, he's lost a series 2-0 to Sue, so we can't really judge him on that. He did drop a map versus Mini Razor, may show a bit of signs of weakness there.
Yeah.
But then he did bounce back to beat Leonot 2-0, so it is kind of a little bit difficult to read into how well he's played just off results.
I mean, you're talking about very different Zerg players that he's beaten, but I think still a much better show of his current state, of his skill, because, as he said, Jaedong hasn't really had that big test. And there's no one that, like, it's okay, you talk about to beat Ryung, but like you said, Ryung's performance doesn't really show us too much that we've seen from Sue, and you kind of get the vibe that it might have been very similar in that series as well. So Jaedong he's definitely an underdog, I'd say, in this matchup.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
Yeah,
All right, well, he's moments away, right?
Yeah, moments away. We're all in the lobby just waiting for it to happen.
Well, talk to us about Classic style, though. You've seen him play a lot. You obviously cover him a lot in the Korean region.
Team Salmon.
How is he playing this? I mean, Team Salmon, yes, exactly.
Team Salmon.
What is his style? How is he going to approach playing Jaedong?
He has a kind of a very solid style. Like he doesn't really do anything too crazy. He doesn't really have any signature sort of. He's just very, very solid. I'm trying to think back to him against Su in the GSL finals, and I actually can't remember any of his games. That's how standard he plays.
Too much StarCraft, man.
Too much.
Actually,
overload. What can we expect from Jaedong?
Cheese. I want to see a lot of speed lane, a lot of aggression. Cheese as in, like, hyper-aggressive Jaedong. Not necessarily. If we get to Swarmhost, I will cry bittersweet tears. Jaedong is still the absolute shittiest Swarmhost player perhaps on the planet Earth.
All right, well, let's find out if he can do it. Guys, Moonglade and Jeff in control, please take it away.
Thank you, Apollo. Guys, we're super excited about this game, as you guys should as well, as we're trying to set up Jaedong playing for all the marbles. He's called out BlizzCon. He wants to be there. He took second place last year, of course, as part of that year of second places. And he's going up against Classic, who knows a little bit about second place, but he also knows about being a GSL champion.
He
does
does
an amazing
indeed.
Protoss.
Yeah, and he knows how to beat top-of-the-line Zergs, beating Su in that GSL finals.
Yeah.
So he's very, very experienced in this matchup, and I'd definitely say it's one of his best ones. And this map, kind of an interesting map for ZVP.
It is.
I like this map. What do you think about this map?
Well, I'm going to pull in Nathanius on you.
Okay.
So they told us we have to do player introductions at the beginning, otherwise they freak out.
Well said.
We'll get to that in a second. So the lower left-hand side, guys, put your hands together on the internet or wherever you are watching this series for Evil Genius's Jaedong. Man, the crowd's going wild here. You go ahead.
And in the bottom right, we have a GSL champion looking to make his mark in the DreamHack Open Stockholm. It is Classic.
All right. So I like the question you asked. We had to take a little bit of a nod to Nathanius. If we don't do that, you know, like the world collapses a little bit. PVZ on this map, from the Protoss perspective, is pretty darn okay. Obviously, the geography of the map can change pretty dramatically. All 4 base locations are possible. We have lower left versus lower right. That shrinks the map quite a bit, makes your 4th base a little bit odd. You go out a little bit more into the middle of the map, but that's actually kind of set anyways.
Yeah.
But you like this. This is a fast expand map where you have a ramp leading up into your 2 bases, which means, you know, if you go Roach Ling, yeah, you're targeting that 3rd, but it's they can narrow that space down. It can be kind of problematic.
They can SimCity it very, very well on this map. And one thing that we should note from the beginning here in these positions is Jaedong's going to have a great avenue to go mutas into that natural.
Yes.
He's going to have a great time if he chooses to go for that muta switch.
They'll hit so fast.
He's going to do a lot of work here. And Classic, actually, with a bit of a classic build going the Forge.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we do have 3 hatch before pool here from our Zerg player. I do like that he took the low ground natural first. He's going to have a little bit more of a chance to spread the creep out there and start extending it. Whereas, yes, the base inside the main is safer, but not, well, I mean, aggressive is going to be a word you guys are going to hear a lot here. By even just placing that second hatch in the low ground, it's just a little bit more aggressive. But to your point, with that Forge and then Gateway, so that's interesting. And he's actually not, he's not out on the map. You'll notice no Probe Scout until now. So when I saw 3 hatch before pool, I was like, oh gosh, we're going to have one of those weird games where Korean Protoss to show us all how to cannon rush. But he's just, nope, this is him being safe. If some kind of Ling force came in there, he would do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're having some lag issues here.
Getting some lag. It might actually be me.
Game paused.
Yeah. Well, we'll take a quick pause here, guys. Sort this out. We are in Sweden, which is actually where the internet flows forth into the world. So if there's ever a chance for the internet to recover, it's here.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the fastest places for the internet.
And you're from Australia, so you actually know the other end of the spectrum.
I know indeed, I know how bad it can actually get, and it can get pretty bad out there. So, yeah, props to Sweden and to Korea, where I live now. You know, it makes a huge, huge difference.
Mini Sweden, the other best place for the internet. We are getting back in the game here, but still a little bit of lag. Yeah. So talk to me from the Zerg perspective on this map. You talked about how Mutalisks are very powerful on here. They can hit that back natural super quick, but what are other considerations you're thinking from?
They can hit that back natural. Still some lag here. Well, I definitely think there's going to be a timing on the 3rd base at the very least. It is a very exposed 3rd. Yeah. I mean, considering where the ramp is and whatnot. I wouldn't be surprised if we also saw some timings from Classic, which I've seen a lot on this map. If you can get a force field on that ramp,
Yeah.
you can do a lot of work.
Shut down 2 base production, basically, the main and the natural inside there.
Absolutely.
And that's something we've seen a lot from the Korean Protoss. We've seen a lot of kind of stalker sentry mothership push out, even pre-tech. There's no Robo, there's no Twilight Council behind it. Well, usually it'll go on behind it as they're pushing out and establishing their third. So that could be something really strong here, because that is the blessing and the curse of lower left versus lower right. It is shorter, so if we get to mid-game aggression, it's very good for the Zerg player, I feel. But kind of pre-mid-game, early game, it can be a little bit tough because it's just outside the natural and you're at the Zerg third. You know, and that's like 2 proxy pylons of production, which is pretty tough because the Zerg wants to get open field. They want to threaten counterattacks. They want you fighting on creep. But if you're already there, it can be kind of tough to do all those things.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're trying to solve this, see if it
should
works.
be better now that I left the game on my laptop, because I think it was me.
It was you. And you know what? We'll
I'm
share.
so sorry.
Come.
All right,
Come,
thank you,
please.
sir. Thank you, sir.
This is how we're going to cast, guys. That's how every cast should be.
It should be, actually.
That's how Team Salmon does it, I feel like. You guys
We
you guys
kind
are
of
holding
do.
hands under the table.
We all hold hands
Yeah.
together in a ball and cast together like that, as Team Salmon should.
Fishbowl. Very good. All right. We are in the game, guys. The lag has been solved. Hurrah. Here we are. And I'm not going to lie, of course, I'm completely and utterly biased to Evil Genius's Jaedong for reasons that, you know, are both sexual and, of course, contractual. But
He is a very handsome man.
I want a 2-1. You know what? Either way.
Yeah,
Let's just say, of course
I think
want
it's about
Jaedong to win.
time we had a 2-1
My
in
God.
control. It has. Have
does
we
the game
even
three
had
look
one?
like?
Have we even had one so far? I don't
Not on
think we
stream,
have.
not for
on-
us.
That's actually amazing.
2-0. It's been the opposite of Hearthstone. If you guys didn't know this, yesterday, Hearthstone, they did best of 5s. They like all went to the 5th game. All the players took their max time. And they did a 20-hour broadcast that concluded at 6 a.m. So a lot of you guys are challenging Artosis' heart, his passion. No, it's just that it's Hearthstone now. That's all. They actually cast for 20 hours.
Yeah, that's actually ridiculous. And props to them. I mean, that's very, very hard work right there. And I'm sure they're going to do it all again today.
I hope so. 40 hours.
40 hours.
That's what I want.
Yeah, things will get ridiculous.
I want Artosis just to set records. Stargate is queued up here, so, you know, we were talking a little bit about Stalker, Sentry pushouts, that kind of thing. Certainly we could still see that, but this is going to be a Stargate opening. And I think Oracle. What's your guess?
Yeah, I'm going to definitely say Oracle in this kind of situation, especially if it doesn't get scattered. And by the looks of things, there's simply no Overlord nearby to find it.
Ooh.
But we're going to see Phoenix after all.
No,
So, not a bad idea either.
Let's put our monocle on, though. I'm going to be a little bit critical of that. Phoenix typically very good. They're always good, let's be honest. And there's
Yeah,
the fast
always
robo
good.
to follow it up, so of course Colossus behind that, at least as an option. What I don't like about it in these positions, because it's a short map, if you get deflected here, fast Hydra can be really tough to deal with in this short distance.
That's true. And I'm kind of wondering, because we see Spores now, did he actually get to see that Stargate with that Ling that ran up the ramp?
Yeah, he saw it.
No. Yeah, he did.
He saw it.
Wow. Very
Telling
nice
you, man.
done. That Ling, just 1 pixel too close to the ramp was that Stargate.
And there's actually only 1 Overlord on... Oh, no, there's 2. Okay, that one's spotted right there. There's 2 Overlords in his side of the map, so that's not bad.
No, it's not horrible. And yeah, Phoenix, I mean, Phoenix is still great, even in this day and age.
Yeah.
Oracle is obviously the much more popular choice because you can defend your third base very efficiently with it
Yes.
as well. But, I mean, you can still take map control. You still can do a lot of damage with Phoenix. And you know what? Phoenix are going to kind of play on Jaedong's mind, like, hey, it's going to be a bit harder to go for that mutant switch because there's already the hard counter on the map.
Right. Another thing worth noting here, just the 1 sentry for our Protoss player, and he has not started +1 on the Forge. So at first glance, it's kind of that's odd, and it is odd. But basically, that's a conservation of gas, which allows him to do this robo at the same time as the Phoenix, and then go for the Robotics Bay immediately after. So we're going to have very fast Colossus. And with these gateways added, even pre-third, okay, there is the third queued up here. This is just going to be that third base, but it's with a lot of gateways and the Colossus behind it, so it's very safe against like a Roach Ling timing attack. And if you notice, Jaedong has actually quite a bit of a late lair.
That's actually a very, very late lair. I mean, it's because he went for that 1-1 Ling style, which is going to play much better in the late game, and obviously you can do some pretty interesting Ling timings from it. But with this straight tech to Colossi, I'm pretty sure Classic's going to be in a very, very solid position to deal with it very early on.
I think, again, keeping that monocle on and pretending that I know better than these guys, LOL. But just for the interest of, I guess, all of us to take a gander at, I would have liked Jaedong to adjust, seeing that fast Stargate, and perhaps reading into what he's seeing right now, fast third, that kind of thing. Go for a fast Hive, go for Abduct. 1-1 Ling is really good for gigantic maps where counterattacks are super possible, but this Protoss could get up to 3 base, SimCity this down, And then, yeah, you know, try your Ling run-bys, but they're all going to get destroyed.
It's going to be a lot harder on this map, considering, like, the third base. I mean, he's essentially going to completely SimCity off one of the ways into that third.
Oh, geez.
Most likely going to be the northern sort of face there.
And
you see more Links coming out. And Links, I mean, he's got, like, a small window to do this, because the Colossi is almost out here. And really great positioning from Classic.
I do not like this for Jaedong. He cannot really go up into the main. There's like just even a single can there, but there's all these gateways behind it, so a single sentry gets warped in and then you can't run by. He's looking at possibly challenging the third, but as you said, that Colossus is now stepping out. The Colossus itself is scary, but what's also scary is there's a decent number of Zealots down here with a few force fields. You just can't crack that nut. You're not getting in there.
Absolutely. And really nice force fields there. Getting rid of a lot of Lings, pulling them back a little bit. Shows his Colossi pretty early on, but I'm sure it was expected by Jaedong.
Now let's see here. If we check the vision of our Protoss player, he actually does not see the Spire at this, I don't know if you want to call it the third or the outside base.
Yeah, I guess we could call that the third base. I mean, or the outside natural.
Know what? This is not going to be Mutas. This is going to be Ling Corruptor.
Yeah, I feel like it will have to be at this point. There's already too many Phoenix out for the Mutas to really do much of a surprise. But, you know, 2-2 Lings on the way as well, which is going to do a lot in this late game. I wonder if he's planning to transition into that late game, into maybe that Ultra in the Ultra late game. We actually already see Queens, extra Queens coming out, which does say a lot about what his plan might be. Yeah,
those Queens able to transfuse the Ultras, kind of turning them into weapon batteries, essentially. Just the 5 Phoenix are cruising around. They still don't see the Spire. And it is going to be Corruptors with the 2-2 and even +1 air attack. I do like the timing of this fourth base. It's basically, it's a little bit after the third. I would have liked it a tad bit early. But of course, he has to be worried about just a gateway explosion. Third base goes up, and then all of a sudden there's 12 gateways and 3 Colossus coming at you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you don't have, I mean, you have to be pretty bulky at that time. That's the other thing that worries me, though. If that kind of attack comes out, because of how close these bases are, that army can come home and defend and then go back out and threaten again very quick.
Absolutely.
This is a tough situation for Jaedong. I don't like his chances here. I think it's very scary.
And look at that. He's going into Swarm Host. Enduring Locust upgrade has been said. And you said before this game started, Jaedong's Swarm Host isn't the best.
It's not, but Swarm Host is good. So you know, I make jokes, but let's be real here. It's just the one robo. It's not continual production. He doesn't know just yet. As soon as he finds out he's going to want to get that second robo, you really want to churn out the Colossus production. And again, oh, wow. A little bit of a... He's going to go for a Colossus pick here. I really like this with just a few Stalkers and the Phoenix. He actually can't do much in the way of killing these Corruptors. And here's what's happening, guys. When he kills the Colossus, he resets the Colossus count, which is the major threat to the Swarm Host. So this is a very kind of tactical choice from Jaedong.
Yeah,
not
well
looking to win the game right here, but to set back the Protoss player.
Yep, claiming those 2 Colossi. There's simply no way that Classic is going to move out in the map and actually fight the Swarm Host. There's no way he can do it. He has to wait until he has at least 3 Colossi before he can actually efficiently destroy these Locusts.
He sees it now.
He sees it now.
So it's just the Void Ray Colossus. Still only the 1 robo.
Big Zealot warp in. Up top, he's going to go for that 4th base.
Okay, it's coming in. Pretty decent creep spread from Jaedong, although, as I say that, not to the left over here. So this will be spotted quite late. I think he has a decent number of Zerglings. Yes, he does. So he has a good response force here. And do they have Adrenal? No, Hive's not even finished yet, so no Adrenal.
Yep, no Adrenal. And, I mean, they do have 2-2 though, so they should be able to trade pretty well against these Zealots and clean them up pretty easily.
Yeah, he's getting them. It's a great angle from Classic, doing what he can with what he has. A single Phoenix picks up the Queen.
Yeah, I think he's going to get a couple of Queens from this as well, slowing down production, slowing down the creep spread.
It's kind of funny because as the game goes on later, though, they're actually, these Queens are pretty staunch. They have 2 armor, so the poor Phoenix.
Yeah, it's actually going to be very, very hard for him to take him down.
Put more lasers into him, boys. Yeah, they're going to get chased off here. Make no mistake of it, though, Classic does now know that he is facing Swarm Host. Jaedong being very passive about it, though. You'll notice he does not have 18, although 6 are about to pop, so he's getting closer to that magical number. No stacked defenses, though. And again, I can't help it, but we got to be critical. Like, Swarm Host is good. Swarm Host Corruptor, good. But, you know, get up to 5 bases, get stacked defenses.
Yeah, you need static defense in the late game if you actually want to start pushing. He's being very, very defensive with his Swarm Host so far, which is also
even
very, very
in the
important.
main, just cuz.
No, it's very good to kind of deal with these warp-ins. But, yeah.
Did he
he's already putting down 6 more Spine Crawlers, so he is getting that stage, and he's making 2 Vipers as well. So
there we go.
He's looking to be more aggressive with these Swarm Hosts.
Look at my boy go. He's learning. But this is kind of a scary army coming forward.
Only 2 Colossi.
Just the 2.
So he cannot actually fight this really efficiently at all. But he can maneuver around them, which is another way to deal with it.
Does he have... Is he pushing back this creep? Yeah, so that's what that was. He's just pushing back the creep. That's a very underrated thing when dealing with Swarm Host, by the way. A lot of people kind of don't necessarily talk about that. But if you can push back the creep and keep the Swarm Host constantly off creep, it becomes a much more manageable situation, basically, for the Protoss.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, the larger the creep is, the further the Swarmers can sit back and shoot the Locust at something. So when it's all gone, I mean, they have a lot less time out the map doing damage. And here we go. We have 2 Colossi. It looks like he's going to trade. He has Blink, so he can pretty much efficiently trade with this. And it looks like Classic just wants to steamroll this by the looks of things. I don't know. It's
kind of interesting. He's big Warping back at home. It's a lot of Stalkers.
Yeah.
Decent number of Void Rays, but Jaedong's got the ball here. A little bit of sloppy control, only a single abduct, and it costs him quite a few units here, actually. But here comes Classic, and he's looking to stomp down on this. Jaedong doesn't have much in the way of support. Otherwise, the next volley is coming out, but there's just such a good concave of Stalkers. Now with the force fields kind of trapping a lot of the Locusts behind that and allowing them to get AoE down, means that Classic is gonna push forward, and here he comes.
Absolutely, just completely dominating. Huge, huge timing here. Simply just not enough static defense, not enough Vipers, and really anything to back up these Swarm hosts. And there's from here, I mean, so long as Classic doesn't overstep his bounds, he will clean up the Locusts, start taking out these bases. Once he gets rid of that 4th base, they're on equal economy, which is something.
Oh, he lost the Observer.
Well, he can just right-click down a hatch and move out. That's probably
That's what he's going to have to do, but he loses the ability to maybe go for a bigger goal
here.
Zergling's
actually getting us around on the Colossi.
1 Colossus down, 2 Colossus down, a 3rd one's at low health. He's blinking back. Jaedong's turned this around. That Colossus is actually on the lowest of health. It dies to a single Corruptor now without vision, without Void Rays. Here comes another Observer, but this threat is gone. Each Locust wave that comes forth is now king of the playground.
Look at the supply. 60 supply advantage for Jaedong. Simply because Classic went too far. He was kind of sitting in between the production from every single side instead of taking out the critical economy, which I think he should have been doing from the start. He should have taken down the hatchery in the 4th base and moved back.
So Mito's starting to kind of show themselves here. I don't think that's the time for that, but Jaedong he's just got that button. He's like, well, gosh, this is what I do now. It's going to go Mutoless. A lot of Stalkers here, and Classic is really going for this. Lings, Mutoless are coming in. They're trying to do what they can, but keep in mind these Mutoless, actually they got 2 attack upgrade. I was about to talk about how poorly upgraded they are, but they're simply not. 3 attack for the Protoss.
Means they're going to take down these mutants very, very efficiently at the same time.
Yeah. But it's the Swarm host, for God's sakes. He just... You know, the maneuverability of the Stalkers is nice. He should be looking to pick off bases, that kind of thing. He got a lot of Mutoless there, so that's nice. But as you said, look at the supply. 170 to 119. 4th base being established behind us, but not being saturated. No probes being made, nothing like that, because it's all attack, all now.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's Classic's still looking to try and take down this 4th base, which I think he kind of has to do at this point. Now that his 4th is up, but it's about to be counterattack, which is going to cause a lot of trouble as well. These are 2/2 Zerglings, so they are going to be very, very decent at taking down Zealots and taking down the Nexus itself.
There's 2 pylons here, and Jaedong wisely is going to split off and target one of them down. A Warpin comes in to reinforce the space. It looks like it will be successful, but there's too many Lings here. Meanwhile, the Stalkers are still harassing over at this 4th base, but the Swarm hosts are kind of established. They're able to at least push this back. It seems like they're fighting Locust, and then the 4th base has been routed. Probes are now being pulled back. And again, there's a 70 supply advantage here. Jaedong will abandon this base over here, which would push him down to 3 bases.
Yeah, very, very interesting here. But, I mean, getting that 4th base himself, and with this supply lead, and actually, I think he actually has enough to clean up this army at the same time. Jaedong about to take this first game against Classic.
He's looking to do it. An Archon in the background gets peeled back. Zergling's joining in here. The Stalker count has just collapsed down to, well, I guess 0, or as they say in Queen's Country, 0. Mutaling pushing out Swarmhost untouched. 5 more Mules to join it. 20 Zerglings. And there are problems in Classic Country right now. He's down to, he's mined out most of his main, mined out most of his natural. He's on a single mining base. And there's a Jaedong out there with fairly unanswered Mutoless. He's warping in a lot of Archons. But I don't know.
But I mean, great. Locusts are going to help out a great deal against this, as well as the Zerglings and Mutas. So long as they don't get 2 AoE damage, they're going to just simply take out these 3 or 4 Archons very, very easily here. Wow, even abducting one. And GG! Jaedong.
Cow.
Wow. You know what? I think his foremost is not too bad in control.
Yeah, that was pretty okay.
That was impressive.
It's still not like, you know, you see some of those guys, and with Swarmers, you're like, that's when, you know, Todd takes to Twitter and is like, David Keem, are you looking at these? Like, this is unbalanced. You won't see that from Todd on Twitter right now. Yeah. He's like, that was a good game.
That was actually, it was really nicely done. I actually really liked the Zergling upgrades and the Muta switch. It was all done at the right time there. So that was very, very
impressed. It got a little bit scary.
One nice thing. But I do think Classic went, his positioning was bad with his army going in between every single base to the point where mass Zerglings flooded from every single side, surrounded his 3 Colossi. And there was no buffer for them. So, I mean, if he had taken like the northern route to the 4th base, focused on killing the hatchery and the economy, warped in some Zealots to buffer, not getting like in the middle of Creep Town,
Yeah.
It would have made a big difference there. So maybe just going a little too deep was classic.
And worth noting, too, Jaedong on the good side there, too. He kind of, I don't want to say goaded. He did what was necessary, but he kept pulling back the Swarm host and relocating more central.
Yeah.
He didn't get greedy and say, gosh, I have to defend that 4th base and put them all up there.
Yeah.
If he would have done that, he would have antagonized Classic to do exactly what you said, and I agree with. And I feel like that would have been a Jaedong loss. Pretty strong.
I think so.
But
It's
making
still
him,
very close.
you know, threatening, or not threatening, but kind of teasing him to come down the middle meant that he had lings coming from all sides. You know, creep waves from, well, I call it creep waves, so it's locusts. Been watching too much Dota 2. My bad. But yeah, really good first game. And a lot of people, too. I was even talking, should I? Yeah, I'm going to throw Sean under the bus.
Yeah.
Last night, he's like, oh, we got Classic. I'm so sorry, mate. I'm so sorry. Jaedong's dead. And I'm like, no, actually, that's pretty good. I feel like if Jaedong, yeah. Oh, you don't have to.
I don't think they want to invite me anymore.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm okay. We had our arms over each other.
We're going to just share?
Yeah, sharing
share.
is caring. You should
is,
always share Razor
Yeah.
with your friends.
Yeah, why not?
But what I was going to say is I actually like this matchup. I feel like if he hits a rock-solid Terran or even just an utter god like a Sue, that's where I feel like Jaedong, okay, you know, good turnip buddy, but Classic, he is one of those, you know, he's one of those god modes. Very good.
Very, very
good.
But
he's Protoss. And Jaedong has always been pretty okay, except for at the absolute beginning where he was terrible against Protoss. He's been pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, Classic isn't on top of like he was when he was winning GSL. Like he has kind of gone a bit quiet in the GSL and in individual leagues. So you know what? He definitely is a beatable Protoss at this point in time. And, Jaedong, you know, 1 win away of going to that round of 8, securing his spot at BlizzCon.
By the way, worth noting, I want to take back a comment I said earlier where I wanted to see a 2-1. Now I'm totally okay with a 2-1. All of a sudden.
Oh, very interesting. Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. I still would like to see a 2-1, though. I want to see 3 games on the main stream.
It's super thrilling, man. It's pretty amazing. But this has been a bit of a beatdown, guys, at DreamHack Stockholm Open. Hopefully you still are enjoying it. The fans out there that... I mean, if your player is the one giving the beatdowns, this is a great time. But I can't help. I almost always root for the underdog. I get excited about really close, epic series, and we just haven't had a whole lot of that so far.
We have not had any. Yeah. Not at all. It's been very one-sided 2-0s, unfortunately.
But we're winding down. We've, like I said, we've kind of trimmed off the Kaldor bulking fat, and now we're just in that raw swimsuit model Kaldor that just kind of sleeks out of the water and appears in your boat and then makes its way to your wall in a poster. You know what I mean? You have a Kaldor poster, of course.
Oh, naturally.
Team Salmon, I believe that's standard issue for you guys.
That actually, that happened pretty early on.
Okay, let's introduce these players. Go ahead, take it away, Moonglade.
Well, on the top left here, down a game surprisingly. No, sorry, on the bottom right, up a game surprisingly. It is E.G. Jaedong.
Jaedong is life. And in the top left-hand side, his opponent needing to run it back here for all of Kespa. It is Classic.
Bit of surprising loss there. He went for a very aggressive build last game. After he saw the Swarm host switch. Only going for 1 robo, which I think might have been a bit of a mistake there. Just simply not enough Colossi and not enough sort of, like once the Colossi count got reset, his timing got essentially reset, so he had to wait until he had enough.
With just 3 Colossi. It was got scary for a second.
Yeah, he was in a great position until he like overstepped and just, you know, went down the alley of death.
Moonglade, we might have a build after my own heart. This pylon with the probe scouting, although the money's kind of racking up here. We're just at 12 supply, so it's still very possible for this to be a cannon rush.
It could be.
How many times did I cannon rush you in NASL? I'm sure I did it every single time.
Yeah, you did it. You did it a lot on ladder too. When I was like playing on a barcode, and
that's never stopped. You know that?
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. And we do see that forge go down.
2 probe scout. This is definitely it.
Definitely.
The game
happening.
before, Jaedong did 3 hatch before pool. This game, the Donger says no. I'm switching it up. It's almost like he senses this. And I'll tell you what. As a longtime connoisseur of the essence of Jaedong, I can tell. Oh, actually, look where that pylon's queued up. Intern, show him. Oh. It's pre-planned.
Oh, he changed his mind, though. He's like, never mind.
Well, he didn't see the hatch first, I guess. That was a weird spot, though.
Very
It's going to get interesting.
He's like, oh, crap. It was 15 pool.
He's got a Nexus. He's just got a Nexus. There's 2 probes out there. Ideally, you can rush, but that pool's about to finish. There's no way that he goes forward with it. So Nexus goes down. And he's just going to take that on the chin, and that's the mark of a savvy Protoss player.
Yep.
Unlike myself, I would still cannon rush.
I believe that in Control. I actually have experienced that very thing. I've actually gone 14 pool against you, and you still try to cannon rush.
Did it
me.
almost work?
No.
Damn it.
I'm so sorry.
Well, it won't work here either. Classic's going to pull back. He ain't no in Control, so notice that behind this, he's actually even delaying the cannon until after the gateway. He knows that Jaedong's not going to have the larva available to go, 6-8 lings or something like that. He can take his time.
And it is cross map, so he has a lot of time. And I mean, his probe is still there. He's scouting everything. He's going to see 2 lings and that drone trying to get the 3rd base.
Yeah. He wants to pylon block that if he can. He does confirm it's a 3rd base, though, I do believe, with his vision. Yep.
Yeah.
Which is nice. That means while he didn't necessarily get in the main and is not still in the main for a scout, he can infer there's probably no gas behind that. This is going to be a very straight-up opening from Jaedong. And again, you have to keep your eye on Jaedong because he's crazy. He will just go for a speedling all-in. He will do anything.
Yeah, it's a very, very hard map to kind of deal with a 3rd base from Protoss. Yeah. I mean, there is a ramp to the 3rd base in between the. I mean, like, it's so easy to defend on this map. Once you have a few force fields, there's simply no way your timing is going to do much work here. Right. So it's going to be interesting to see what Jaedong's going to go into. And I mean, in the late game, it's so easy to secure 4 bases as well, especially for Protoss on this map. Not the best sort of map for Zerg, I feel.
It's that time again, Moonglades, where you wake up, you're putting on your complete metrosexual set that you bought from LL Bean. You are now a life coach of Jaedong in the Metropolitan Seoul, Korea, and you coach him on what to do from here. What do you tell him?
I tell him to do what he did last game, or go for mutas. I think wait until we see what Classic is going to go into. If he's going to go for that Stargate again, which I don't think he will, I actually think he's going to go for a fast 3rd base, judging by the +1 we see already. Sure. And from here, I feel like he's going to go for maybe 3-gate 3rd base, and from there, go into probably a Blink Stalker style. So it's going to be up to Jaedong to really identify what it's going to be for sure. He can go for the muta style. Granted, it is a little risky against the kind of the Blink Stalker opening. But I feel like even if he did what he did last game, like he can secure 4 bases very, very easily himself. Yeah. Granted, creep spread is going to be very difficult to get to the side of Classic's base. But, he did very well with it last game, and I liked it a lot. I wouldn't mind seeing those 2 Zergling upgrades as well.
Moonglade, same question reflected back at me. I'm waking up in my all-khaki outfit in my postmodern, minimalist, white-walled apartment in Metropolitan Seoul, Korea as well. I'm the life coach of Classic from SK2 I would drink my mug of coffee, free range, of course.
Oh, of course.
And I would coach him up on. Well, this is weird. I wouldn't necessarily say that, but I like I like the Blink Stalker Sentry push out with 3rd behind it. Feel out the Jaedong, see what he's doing, and then tech behind it. But Classic ain't no fool. He's gonna go. He's gonna be driving the sled.
He's doing exactly what I said. So
you are the better life coach.
Maybe I am the life coach of both these players right now. We'll have to wait and see.
That would be quite the reveal. You're like commentating Pro League, but also coaching every player in Korea as well. Somehow
I'm like E.G. Jaedong's coach. Like it doesn't actually make sense, but it's happening. And yeah, we do see 3rd base secured pretty nicely from Classic.
Spotted.
Look at the SimCity there. Look how hard it is going to be for Jaedong to do anything. Even if he went for roaches, like there is no way you can get in there. You're going to have to play against the 3-base Protoss at the very least, and we do see very, very early blink. So yeah, I feel like we're going to see a blink timing from Classic.
It should be. And what I like about this is that it's kind of the happy middle. There's that blink getting queued up now. A lot of Zergs these days are going for like really fast Hydra rushes, trying to chop down this wall. And this is a wide ramp, so you're not super terrified of force fields. But if you open up Stargate to follow this up, or something that delays your AoE tech, or just kind of your mass gateway units, then you're very susceptible to that. But Classic being the staunch, pre-game we talked about how he's just kind of a rock-solid Protoss. You're not going to see crazy things out of him.
Absolutely.
This is that. This is just a lot of Blink Stalkers and Sentries. If you do go balls-wall attack into this, he's going to probably defend and take an advantage. If you don't, then he's going to have that strong mid-game that can be very kind of flexible against whatever tech it is you're doing, be it Swarm Host or Mutalist.
Absolutely. And we see more and more gates being added on. Blink and +2 underway. More Sentries getting whooped in as well. I feel like for sure we're going to see Classic just go super all in at this.
No gas at 3rd. This is
crazy all in.
This is a stupid pun to make, but it's a classic build. We've seen this a lot. Not classic in name, but we've seen Protoss do this a lot. He'll even stop production on probes. Notice, well, he's actually still making 3, but
he wants to finish out the saturation.
Oh, there's the gases.
Why not?
Huh. Does he see Swarm Host? He
hasn't seen it yet. He hasn't
doesn't even see Lair.
Yeah, he hasn't actually scouted much at all. And we do see Hallucinated Phoenix come out, so he actually wants to go for that scouting. Jaedong with a pretty late 4th base, considering how early he scouted that 3rd from Classic.
This is the most naked main base in the history of
It is empty.
He just now added this pylon.
It is
Other
actually
than that,
empty.
it was the 2 gases that you have to make. The entire main base. All right. I'm not going to trip too much out about that, but it's a really weird main
You
base.
see like a Nidus go down, and it's the easiest kill on the Nexus ever.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd actually be amazing. But we
brilliant.
do see Jaedong go for the very same thing as he went for last game.
Yep.
Man, did I call it. I called everything this
You're
game.
pretty good at this.
Whoa, man, I'm feeling pretty good about
Blade.
myself. 1-1
Doing
links.
a pretty good
Almost.
job.
Thanks a lot, Maze. And looks like Classic is going to finally be aggressive here. We do see the Warp Prism being made as well to further his aggression.
Here he comes, and he's going to get bad news. There's
He's going to be
an
very,
observer
very
can
unhappy.
join this, but there is not one yet, which means he has no access to really threatening the Locust, or excuse me, the Swarmos. You can threaten Locust all day long. That's fine. No, wait, he just killed that tumor. No, it was above ground. Okay. But this is bad. You get over here and you're like, ah, crap.
Yeah.
I got to go back home and change the way I'm
Well,
doing
how many
things.
Swarmos do we have so far? Which is going to be the first question we need to ask ourselves. If it's only a few,
8.
okay, that's too many. That's simply too many. I mean, what he can
4
do, though,
more
and
coming.
what he is going to do is force field the ramp, kill that 4th base, and get out of dodge. And I think if he's going to put down a second Robo while he does this, he's going to be in a great position to go for a timing.
Yeah, he'll definitely recall out of here.
He should absolutely recall out of here and not trade with Locust, because that does not give you anything at all.
No. The better Jaedong here, though, by the way.
Wow, he's actually still being very, very aggressive here.
He's got to recall out.
And then he gets out. Okay.
So what I like about this from Jaedong is he lost that 4th. It's an unsaturated, unfulfilled 4th. Who cares? Lose the hatch.
I mean, who cares? Who cares? But you're missing that 7th and 8th gas, which is kind of essential.
No. I'm not saying there's no damage. What I am saying is if he came down here and defended, that would be terrible.
Yeah.
He would have a very strong chance of getting force fielded out, losing some locusts, or not locusts, swarm host. But by just losing the hatchery, yes, of course, it's a setback. You'd ideally rather have it.
Yeah.
But
so
it's
it's
okay.
not the end of the world. It's absolutely not the end of the world. He took no damage beside that.
What am I hearing? Oh, here it is. Warp Prism.
Warp Prism doing a little bit of harassment in that main base.
Yeah, main base. Warp Prism moving in there.
Oh, if he gets rid of these 2 spies, that's actually huge, and he's going to go for it with warping in now. You see so many Zerglings being warped in. I mean,
so many
taken
Zergs
from the
being warped
natural.
in. What
warped
is going on with you? No, I'm just kidding.
The game is going crazy.
Here he goes. He's going to threaten behind there as well. Locust going mid-map. It's really up to the multitask, but these Zealots actually beast-moded all over those Zerglings.
Yeah, you should actually start right-clicking on those spies, and it looks like at the same time his 3rd base is getting pulled apart, and it's exactly what you need to do against his this sort of former style.
Gotta be careful.
A little bit. And
gets one Spire going for the next one. Another Zealot warping. They just have too good of an angle.
He's trading with the Zerglings again, but the 3 Zealots are actually DPSing down that Spire.
He should get it.
I think he's gonna get it. He's gonna get it, and it's gonna be huge. 2 Spires go down. That is insane. That is putting Classic in a ridiculously good situation.
Yeah, they've equaled in supply. Jaedong had a pretty big supply advantage before that. Warp Prism's still free to roam. I don't agree with that warping. Oh, he gets canceled Spire.
I mean, if he just keeps doing this
no
all day long.
Spires this game.
You know what's going to happen? This Colossi timing is going to be ridiculous, and he's trading so well with his zones because the upgrades were a lot later this game.
Blinks up. Ooh, that's a really aggressive.
Wow.
But the Force Fields are manipulating those Locusts, not allowing them to get in on the meat of those Stalkers.
This is insane. This is this map, Deadwing, you know. It's caused a lot of Zerg problems against Terran and against Protoss. Finally, the Warp Prism is going to go down.
Yeah, does die. Jaedong's holding on. This is ugly. This is he's getting battered around here, but behind this he gets the 4th base. He does get that Warp Prism, which is a big, big deal. Another giant Zealot warp in behind this. And you talked about a Colossus timing. It certainly is potentially there, but still just the 1 Robo, which is very interesting from our Protoss player.
You know what he could do too? He could just sit on that low ground like he is doing with these Stalkers, but with Colossi with range and just mow down everything.
Here comes the Abduct. The Mothership Core gets pulled in there into that 3rd base. Is there actually... Okay, there is some anti-air at first. It got abducted into just kind of a queen throwing stones at, but it looks like this will get pushed off. He has no high ground spotting there now. He never had an observer, if I'm actually clear on this.
Yeah,
Zealots got warped and went to the 4th. They did nothing. Jaedong holds quite well.
He holds very well.
He's behind in supply, so it's definitely, like I said, it's ugly.
Yeah, not an impossible situation, though. I mean, it's a bad situation. 4th base is up for Classic now, so they are on the same economy.
Yep.
So things aren't looking the best here. We're going to have to wait and see exactly how Classic is going to go about it. Is he going to go down
better
the
for
mid
Classic
again?
this game.
Yeah,
right?
he's looking a lot more solid this game.
Much better. Storm, he's got like 6 or 7 Templar in the mix. Going for a shield upgrade. There is that 2nd Robo, so he's going to get that beefy, real lasery army that you need to deal with the Swarm host. And no Warp Prism. He's going to look to replace that, I hope
2nd
soon.
Robo. Finally, a 2nd Robo.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's
finally.
Good. He's going to get the meat out there.
Yeah.
The Pylon's got cleaned up, except for on his right side. There's an Overlord staring at giant warpins of Zealots. He needs to
10 Zealots.
maybe close the, plug that hole.
Yeah, you should probably send a couple of Lings up there to deal with it instead of letting these Zealots come down. But I mean, we do have Swarm host in position to kind of deal with this.
Maybe he's like kind of okay with the warpins. That might be part of the reason why he's not allowing or not going over there to do anything. He's like,
I mean, look at this. He's just like, okay, I got rid of everything that's going to stop me. I can right-click on the hatchery now.
Yeah.
And Lucas are going the wrong way here.
They're going, well, that's low priority, I think. He's going to lose the hatch.
Ooh, no, he should be okay. Enough Zerglings are going to be there. Same time, Viper's taking a lot of damage from feedback. We do see that aggression with Colossi on that third base.
Zerglings kind of moving around here. They're not going to find anything except for a Colossus. Protoss mid-map is just kind of dueling. But, something you said earlier, you don't really want to be fighting Locust, and it seems to be a lot of what he's doing right now. Now he's getting some drones at the middle line there. That's decent.
Huge, huge damage here. And I actually think we're going to see maybe a blink in to deal with these Vipers if they go close enough. With the force field and Storms behind it, Zerglings aren't going to have much of a fight.
Does get the fourth hatch behind us.
Oh, very nice. The warp in finally happens. Not dealing with that pylon is a critical mistake from Jaedong.
Well, yeah, I think it is, but it's interesting. That was like, the 30th Zealot that got that.
Yeah.
And the kind of funny thing about Swarmos is please don't think I'm telling you this or saying it out to the audience, but it's okay to take losses early on because it's all about them spinning more to kill less, and you just, you need to be at 4 bases, so he obviously has to remake that ASAP.
Yeah.
But as long as you're on 4 bases, you can kind of fuel the war effort almost indefinitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably the only problem, I mean, it is this map, Deadwing, is a massive map. It's going to take so long for Classic to kind of spend all his resources and for Jaedong to be in that advantageous position. Maybe if it was Overgrowth or something, like, sure, he can trade all day long and reset his bases, remake these hatcheries, and slow down his economy all he wants, because he doesn't mind.
Another Colossus up deck.
Another Colossus up deck. He is going to get this Colossi. Very nicely done, but at the same time, there's no mining on that base whatsoever.
Yeah, they were pushed back a little bit. He's looking to do some damage. There's an Ice Storm there, too. Whoa. I mean, Classic is just saying, yo, if you're going to... What I like about this is that we keep talking about kind of the war of attrition, and Classic's doing a great job of keeping Jaedong stagnated at 3.5 bases. He's remaking drones, he's remaking hatcheries. Meanwhile, behind this, Classic has added the second Robo. He's adding Tempest. He's adding a 5th base. So he's not necessarily winning any big clash over here, but he's keeping Jaedong in the past, and he's advancing to the future.
Yeah, by far. I mean, going into Tempest now with the mothership already complete, he is making that death ball that Swarmhosts are going to have such a hard time against.
And Jaedong, he sees this with the Overseer. He has to look at that and say, well, gosh, we're going to play a 2-hour game at best for me. Because if this game ends in the next 30 minutes, Jaedong loses. I cannot see this flipping on Classic.
There would have to be a critical micro mistake from Classic to really throw this game away. I mean, he is in such a commanding position here, and I think he has to continue to keep this, the pressure on, though. He cannot let Jaedong kind of move out of his base, take a 5th base, let that creep start to spread. He's got to keep cutting that off, cutting the head of the creep off.
Right.
And I mean, he can still harass that 3rd base as much as he wanted.
Bad rally Colossus.
Yeah,
good night.
Mistake there.
Good night, sweet friends. Yeah, it's just
but I mean,
allowed that one, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you still have 6 Colossi. That's more than enough to deal with any sort of Locust numbers. Like, actually, Infinity Locust can die from this.
Gotta look out for the Abduct. If that mothership gets yanked in there, it'll die pretty quickly. It's a very expensive Abduct for the Protoss player. But I'll tell you what, if it doesn't, it can also be the carrot that kind of gets the Vipers into exposed range for feedback. And he's just kind of fighting back the
He's
creep
just trading
wave,
right now. He's just trading, and he wants to start being aggressive. He wants to take out a base here. And so long as he doesn't get abducted, Viper getting a hallucination.
Yeah, just getting hallucination. That's not great. There's still a lot back here, but there's only the one Overseer
look at
for
this
detection.
Finally!
The mothership, but he doesn't have any. Okay, there's the anti-air, and he does get the mothership just in time.
Gets it, but I mean, the amount of damage he took was insane. We still have so many Archons, so many Colossi, and those Corruptors. We haven't seen the HP of them, but they must be pretty damn low at this point.
He's going for that hatchery, but here comes another creep wave, and he's actually getting pushed into what is a fresh attempt at a base. Losing Corruptors in the background, that's where the real expensive loss of this is coming. I mean, it's going to be hard for him to clean this up, for Classic, that is, but he's killed all the Corruptors. The Vipers are pulling back. There's not much there for them either. And he gets the drones pulled back. Overall, a successful attack for Classic. I know it's not like we look at this and go, oh, wow, Classic just won. But he's doing damage while taking a 5th base behind this and banking money.
Yep.
He's got a huge bank.
Yeah, he's in such a commanding position from here, taking down that 5th base. And we're going to see the Lucas try and do something here, but there's simply too many Colossi pulling forward a Tempest, but that's not going to do much. There's not enough Corruptors.
Who cares? The Tempest is almost a distraction. It doesn't really do that much here.
No, I mean, if anything, you want to get rid of this Colossi so you can start pushing back the army, and then you can pick away the everything else here. But he really wants to get rid of this Tempest. Now he's trying. He's trying.
This is good for Jaedong right now. He gets 2 of the 4 Colossus. Again, the Tempest, who cares? And with the Locust underneath, targeting even down the Corruptors means you're going to lose a lot of Stalkers. I feel like the wind has been taken out of the sails of this push.
Yeah, he has to pull back at this point. He simply cannot trade with Locust like this. You never want to do that.
Hanging out here is just going to cost him more. He needs to pull back. He doesn't even have the Observer. I think that died too. No, it's over here. It's over here by the army. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he maybe gets 4 more Colossi, then resumes, and he's adding Void Rise now, which is going to do great against the Corruptor. And Jaedong is playing so far from behind at this point, but he still has a lot of Stormhost.
More bases for Classic. You know, he's adding 2 Void Rays at a time, go up to 4 Stargates, and just add a 5th and 6th base. I know Jaedong's been sharking around with Zerglings, but that's kind of fallen off here during this potentially game-ending aggression from our Protoss Classic. But only on 5 bases with the main mined out, the natural not being mined because it's mined out too, 3rd thinning out. It gets scary. All of a sudden you're like, wait a second. I've been killing this guy all game long. He's just kind of held on. Did I run out of money? Yeah. Look, his bank is spent.
Exactly. Exactly right here. He's got to be careful, and yeah, he should get another base while this is all happening. But as long as he doesn't trade badly with the Swarmhost, he will always be in a good position.
Yeah.
And that's always a threat, unfortunately, against Swarmhost. Like, you can have a great game against Zerg all game long, then you take that one bad fight where you lose every single Colossi, and you're like, well, now I'm kind of burned.
Jaedong, this is the ugliest. His 3rd base has been crap.
It's that 4 base. The amount of lasers that have gone through that hatchery is actually ridiculous.
They're traumatized. They're like, he's going to try to hold on here, though. Pulls back the drones. I mean, he's got 1 gas that's just bleeding out. He ducks a Templar. That's cute.
Nice. Nice little...
6th base going down for Classic behind this. And again, Jaedong, there's not much he can do about this. So that's kind of why I'm calling for more of that. I feel like, I mean, there's only so many bases you can mine as Classic, but, you know, go ahead and have 12 gases.
Yep, absolutely here. And that's a lot of Corruptors now. So nice Storms go down. And he's going to start going for these Abducts, but I mean, so much damage from these Storms as well. Really great Templar positioning. Still a lot of Archons and Stalkers as well.
Jaedong pulls back. I mean, DT's killed a 5th base in the background, by the way. A
very nice.
Classic Protoss.
Classic move there. And here we go. One more great engagement here, but look at those Corruptors. They are so low already. Every Locust is gone.
They're fighting over Archons. That's going to be it. Jaedong should be moments away from tapping out. Losing all those Corruptors and the 5th base behind this means trouble. Pushing in, Classic gets to the Swarm Host, and that means we are all tied up. A dream match for us.
We have found the 3rd game.
This is
finally
what it looks like, guys.
Round of 16. No, yeah, round of 16 has happened at last. We went to that 3rd game.
It is possible for there to be some controversy. Classic ebbed and flowed that all game, but that was like a sustained noogie. He had his head in the toilet. Yeah. He was just. I know that's not a noogie, guys, but
it was like you got to give up.
You got to beat on him.
Yeah, essentially the whole game long, and that's exactly the sort of situation Protoss want to be in. When they identify it's going to be Swarmhost early enough, keep applying the aggression like he did, doing very, very well, especially with that Warp Prism canceling. Was it 3 or 4 Spires?
Yeah.
That's insane. That's actually put
Jaedong up to 4.
Yeah,
actually.
Put Jaedong behind so far.
Yeah.
And yeah, he never got to leave his base with this Swarmhost. Never, ever.
3rd base was almost never mining. 4th base had to get remade 2 or 3 times. Never actually had a 5th base. So just a really nice game coming out of Classic. And we are all tied up. The 3rd map's going to be King Jaedong Station. So Moonglade, I want your, what do you think about this?
I think we're going to see more Swarmhosts, mate.
Yeah, 3 games in a row.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. So we're going to get a nice, juicy best of 3 here. And it's going to be up to Classic to kind of deal with it. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the same style that we've seen in the last 2 games from both players again. Because it is such a standard style, safe style. We'll have to wait and see exactly how Classic's going to open up this time, though.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You talk about Swarmhost on King Jaedong Station. Of course, a big part of the reason for that, guys, is that middle potential 4th base. Basically, anytime on a map you can defend your bases and simultaneously threaten just about all of the exterior bases of the Protoss, the 3rds, the 4ths, the 5ths.
That's right. Yep.
That's a very tough map for Protoss and PvZ, and we've seen a lot of Swarmhosts so far. This last map's not ideal for Swarmhost because a Protoss can reliably take 4 bases.
That's right.
And be on the other side of the map as he was. So this is going to be more geared towards what we've seen from Jaedong so far.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so. Even with the Zergling upgrades, I mean, this is a great map for Zergling aggression, trying to cancel that 3rd base, go for Zergling upgrades into the late game like we've seen before. Yeah. So I think it's going to play to the strengths that Jaedong has been playing at. And it's going to be up to Jaedong to kind of like defend against what he lost to in last game, essentially, which is very, very standard sort of reactions from Protoss against that Swarmhost opening.
Yeah, he's got to button up that Warp Prism. He kind of took it lightly. Like, eventually 3 Queens picked it off, but I feel like they should have been shadow boxing that from the very beginning.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just making that Warp Prism anxious about sitting around warping in Zealots, because it was actually like the third or fourth warp into Zealots that got all the Spires. The first one wasn't necessarily the one that did it.
Yeah.
If he plugs that up, gets the stack defenses going, and then takes care of that pylon like you talked about, which I think in the end of the day does get counted as a mistake, all of a sudden Jaedong is on a more solid 4 bases going on 5, does have that Spire up in time, and then who knows where that game goes from there.
Absolutely.
Certainly not as bad as it did for him.
Absolutely. And I mean, the map itself was so huge as well. I mean, that's something we didn't really talk about. It is a hard map to kind of get Swarm Host to be in aggressive position. You've got to have a lot of creep spread, a lot of map control. You've got to have a lot of static defense and have every single base secured, which Jaedong never did have. So, this map a lot better for his style if he chooses to go the same sort of route.
We'll have to see, ladies and gentlemen. Like unicorns, this is game number 3 of this best of 3. The loser is going home. In the top left-hand side, wearing the red trunks from Team Evil Geniuses, it is Jaedong.
And if he wins this, he will be going to BlizzCon as well.
Yes.
One more game.
More than 50%.
Yeah, more than 50%, so practically. And in the bottom right, we have Classic, the Protoss that just won the last game. Tying things up here, has to win this game to stay in the tournament.
Classic threatening the cannon rush in game number 2. This time there is that forward pylon, which of course suggests Forge expand, and we actually see a probe making its way over here. I saw him kind of click the rally, and that is to a non-nexus spot. So this should be another Forge fast expand. If Jaedong chooses to go 3-H before pool, it will be contested.
Yeah, absolutely. So all eyes on Jaedong. What is his opening going to be here?
It's pool.
It's pool, so very, very smartly done. Very nicely done there.
Yeah. That's part of what, over the years watching him has made him so exciting, is when he's kind of in his zone, when he's playing really well. It's not just obviously the mechanics of the game where he excels all the time. It's that he makes really good decisions. To open up 3-H before pool on game number 1, that seems really, mundane. That's okay, yeah, everyone does that.
Yep.
But to then choose pool after that and to understand the mindset and to see Classic kind of playing into that mindset, it's pretty cool to watch.
Yeah,
it's not like Classic is getting completely duped right here. This is the back and forth dance of PvZ, but Jaedong is one step ahead for the most part in terms of opening builds.
Yeah, absolutely right. And we do see Classic scouting everything, trying to block Jaedong's drone, but unsuccessfully. Jaedong with a nice little move there, getting that hatchery down nice and early. From here, Jaedong's in a very, very comfortable position, knowing exactly what he's up against. He's like, okay, so I'll go for that gasless third base, and it's a standard game that we've been seeing for years now of Zerg against Forge Fast Expand.
Jaedong is going to actually make, it looks like just 2 Zerglings, which is basically the bare minimum. You have to have something to chase that probe off.
Otherwise, they will deny your third base for the longest time possible. Forever.
Yeah, basically.
They'll put down a cyber core, they'll put down gateways, they'll do whatever they want because, you'll never kill it.
Looks like the third will go down fairly smoothly here. Queen's coming out. Gasless opening from Jaedong on the flip side for Classic double gas right now. As that gateway approaches kind of 75%. That's a little bit early, but it still falls within the normal standard there.
Yeah.
Wall in means it's going to minimize any kind of run by up into the natural, but so far non-committal. This is kind of the formative stage. So I want to say, okay, we talked about, wow, that music's loud. I don't know if you guys can hear that. People getting super pumped here.
Damn, that is some
They're
bass.
assembling the stage for our top 4. But, okay, so Swarmos predictably probably going to show up here, or Jaedong pulls a fast one.
Yeah, I think so for sure.
But for the Protoss, what do you like to see from Protoss? Well, as a Zerg, you don't like to see it, but as a commentator, what do you like to see from Protoss on this map against that?
I actually really enjoy Stargate openings on this map. We see nice Oracle openings for sure. Can do a lot of work here. It's really going to be up to Classic. What are we going to do? Are we going to see Phoenix again? He could see Phoenix again on this map as well. It seems to be his kind of style that he likes to do. I think going for a fairly early 3 base, there's a Stargate going down.
Yep.
I think from here, going for that 3-gate, third base expand. I hope we see an Oracle this time because it's going to really help out, especially against any sort of aggression Jaedong might want to do on that third base. The third base is pretty exposed on this map compared to other maps we have been playing. I mean, like Nimbus, for instance.
Right.
A lot more exposed, which is maybe why we saw the Phoenix. Obviously, Phoenix are going to be better at dealing with sort of roach timings on third bases. But wait and
Phoenix
see.
is just that, it's so classic. And again, that time it is his name that I'm talking about because it's just such, it's just very good and strong against everything, but it informs you on what you're facing, which is what I feel like he wants to do.
It's perfect scouting tool.
Yeah,
sure.
he's not the 2-base all-in, like I'm going to lead the way on this kind of guy. Of course he'll mix it in, every Protoss will, but we don't see that out of him a whole lot. Now keep watching for these Overlords and what they're seeing.
They're
Notice
like
the vision, it just misses the Stargate.
And it is going to be the Oracle.
Okay.
And it's the Oracle. And he finally sees it, and he sees it's going to be an Oracle. So he's never going to take any damage from this.
No, he sees it early enough. That's really bad. Well, it's not great for Classic.
It's not great. I mean, he won't do damage with it, but he still has it for defense.
Yeah.
So he'll always have a use for it. And at the very least, he'll have... he can use its abilities to obviously see everything Jaedong will do in the late game. He's a great spotter, great at identifying what Jaedong might be up to.
Let's be honest, though. You also want that, plus you killed 7 drones.
Yeah, that's true. You always want the element of surprise. I mean, he maybe can still find drones transferring to the third base, which is always an option to look out for. But
ooh, this is nice. So speed just gets started for Jaedong. He scouts this third base, but there ain't crap he can do about it. If he had Speedling before Lair, yeah, maybe. He could just go ahead and make 40 Lings right now.
Hey, there's still an Oracle. I mean, you're still going to have a very, very hard time trying to take down a third base with an Oracle sitting on top of you. 2-shotting Zerglings.
So this third plays out really nicely if you are a Classic fan. Behind that, though, Stargate goes inactive, so we're not seeing... you wouldn't see Phoenix behind that typically, but you would see maybe Void Ray.
Yeah,
there's not even a Robo yet. There's nothing.
Yeah, Void Ray for sure. But doesn't want to commit anything just yet. Adding a lot more gateways.
Twilight Council. Okay.
Twilight Council. Okay, so maybe we can see, judging by the fact that we already see +1 nearly finished, I think we could absolutely see that +2 blink timing again.
Yeah,
I think it could be an option.
Definitely look for that if he. And again, a lot of times the timing aspect is like no gases at the third, very much so 16 probes per mineral line. Like it's very refined. But we saw him like kind of threaten that, but then fall back on more standard. Yeah, he still came out with Stalkers and Sentries, but he was teching behind that. It wasn't nearly an all-in.
That's very, very true here.
Hydra's here from Jaedong.
Yeah, Hydra. Looks like we might see a Hydra timing from JD, maybe into Mutas if we... we'll have to wait and see exactly what his tech switch is going to be, but he will have to tech switch because you cannot sit on Hydras for too long at all.
Jaedong had 2 Zerglings until 70 drones and now 14 Lings. Like, he kind of got away with murder there.
Oh, I love it. Very nicely done. And he went for that middle 4th base, so... It sets you up for a nice sort of Swarm Host play if you really want to go down that route.
Yeah. You know, again, we were saying that aggression is going to be kind of the name of the day for this. I feel like that lives out with that expansion as well. You could take the back one. It's safer, but it's not nearly as forward. So if he does end up switching to Swarm Host, this is the base you want to have as a kind of a base of operations.
As the launch pad for your Olympus. Absolutely. And we see a lot of sentries out here. That definitely implies that he wants to be aggressive with it. When you have that sort of sentry number, you can do a lot.
Spot it, though.
Spot it, and he's going to lose that pylon. So slowing things down for sure. And Jaedong knows exactly what's going on here.
Yeah. That's a big deal right there, guys. If that pylon finishes, I mean, immediately behind this, the Robo gets started. There is another probe coming out here. It's going to get picked off as well. Jaedong's buying time, and with that time, he's adding a lot of Hydralisks. Notice the Spire goes up behind this as well, and a Proxy Spire. Well, look at you, you adorable bastard.
Very, very interesting.
Look at that.
He definitely wants to go with that Muta switch, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But he's going to have to hold on here because there is going to be a lot of aggression from Classic coming up.
There is, and he's coming out here with Zerglings, but he needs to pull back the Hydras. He cannot go into this piecemeal. He's got Hydras Zerglings threatening a flank of sorts, but Classic's all over that. His base is SimCity down. These Zerglings are mostly just going to... I mean, he's trying to buy time, and he's freeing up supply, so they are doing just that.
Yeah, very, very true.
Meanwhile, more Hydras getting added. And Zerglings. What do you like? Okay, go ahead. Call it.
I think it's going to come down to the force fields more than anything else, because we can still see Classic Mass Stalker still can beat Mass Hydra.
Yeah,
it all depends on the positioning, where you're going to have everything, and if you get some good force fields off, because it just ruins everything about Hydras once those force fields go down. There's like half the units attacking what the Stalkers have.
Cannot go up that ramp, not just yet. It's going to be hard to get this hatch, I feel, angle-wise. I
feel like maybe he wants to get around the...
Robo Bay behind this. He's buying it.
Yeah.
I mean, of course he has to. There's freaking Infinity Hydras and Zerglings out here.
Yeah, he's
just poking a playing very safe. I like this from Classic, not just jumping up there.
Oh, here we go. He's going to get in a huge position here to take out that hatchery at the very least.
Yeah, but it's not even like mine right now. The pylons behind this may be dying. There's going to surround from Jaedong. He's trying to get an angle on this. The Mothership, of course, still does have energy. It's not being targeted down, mind you. Actually, it is a little bit. It's low health. Oh, it does die. That means there's no recall out of here. The Stalkers are stuck. The Sentries have died. Classic is blinking down to the low ground. He wants to get out here. He didn't actually even get the hatchery. This is turning disastrous.
Yeah, I cannot believe he didn't kill the hatchery at the very last second there. Maybe just one right click from every Stalker would have dealt with it. And it looks like
it would have cost him a lot of Hydras, I guess.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, Stalkers.
Stalkers, yeah.
And still no Mutalisks from Jaedong. He realizes that it's now. He cannot afford to just get out 6 Mutalisks. He needs to do this. Hydra laying very strong. Still the singular pylon down there. Actually, there's a connection of 2.
Yeah.
But with all those sentries dying, we're in a really weird spot if you're Classic. He's adding the Colossus, he's got range, but he is nowhere near a response to Mutalisk or Corruptors, really, other than the Stalker.
I think so long as he continues to be aggressive like this, continually giving Jaedong the idea that Classic still wants to end this with this push,
and then a Colossus
while he's
shows
making
up.
Colossi behind this, Jaedong is in the worst possible position you could be in, having massed Hydra against Colossi.
He needs to get down here. He needs to get down here and get a concave if that's the situation. 34 Zerglings behind this, so I feel like that is...
Looks like he is going for that move. He wants to clean this army up, or at least push it back to the point where he can make that Muta switch.
Low ground. Needs to
this
back
is actually
up.
really dangerous because he can force field off that ramp.
Yeah, he has to come in from every angle possible. Here's that. This is as good as it gets for him. It's fairly wide open. Force fields go down the right flank. Hydras on the left side are going to dominate. Those Zerglings do find a hole in the force fields. There's just simply not enough. Good concave from the Zerg player pushing in. Only the one Colossus does not have range, and Jaedong is slipping ahead in supply. Most of the sentries are dead or gone. Stalkers blinking back to the best of their ability. And 12 Hydras behind this. Jaedong pushing forward. He wants to go to BlizzCon. He gets a couple of these Stalkers dead as they late blink out. Just the 4 bases from the Zerg, but only 3 bases from the Protoss. And I'll tell you what, Classic down 50 supply is on the ropes.
He is on the ropes big time. Very, very nicely done from Jaedong. I mean, he might have to make that tech switch after all, though. He cannot stay on Hydras forever. I mean,
can he?
Oh, maybe he can. It really depends how many Colossus get out before he goes for another attack here.
One out, second one on the way. It's about 50% out. Again, critically, all these sentries dying means no force fields. He's gone with this heavy Stalker composition, but that's eating up all his gas. So he doesn't have force field manipulation. There's the 9 Mutalisk. Another Colossus comes up, and I believe a third is queued up, because as far as he believes, it's just pure Hydras all day long. Jaedong's going to back up. He is mining that 7th and 8th gas, and he finds a Stalker on the right side, but there's no pylon there. Oh, does he chase? He chases the Stalker into the Spire! It finds it!
He finds it finally, but I mean, what can Classic do in this situation?
Yeah, he's got to push out.
He has to push out. He has to make something happen because he knows he's in such a bad position. And Jaedong, very, very smartly going around the bottom left side here, going for that counterattack. He wants to force that base trade or force the counterattack, which will force Classic to move back. So very, very smartly from Jaedong. He knows he has to keep Classic on his side of the map, because if Classic went for a counterattack while the mutas were going across the map, while this muta transition was happening, Classic could just kill him with the base trade.
Mutalisk pulling in here. They're coming into the main base. There's no cannons. There's no Stargate that's pumping out Phoenix. Nothing like that right now. And the game is afoot. Classic's going to push out. He's on the right side of the map. He finds some Hydros there. It's kind of inconsequential, but nice for him. You don't want those guys floating around either. Mutalisk, meanwhile, inside the natural. They get the 1 cannon. There is a Stalker warping, and Hydras are going to join up for that base trade situation.
Yeah, finally, these Hydras in the bottom left are going to come down and start dealing with this third base here. And Jaedong is in a commanding position to end this game.
He has no drones out. He's sneaking these guys out. That is the mark of a guy that knows what's afoot. If he doesn't get drones out, he could just lose all the buildings. But these drones escaping, they need to escape. They got to swing around the right side. It's a big, big deal up there.
Yeah,
meanwhile, Jaedong is cleaning up, most of the Protoss base, and that's good and well for him. But the army of the Protoss is getting stronger. And look, he's coming back home.
But is it too late? I mean, I think it might be too late. If he loses the Nexus on that third base while every probe is going down in the natural here, he is in such a
might have been
position.
the wrong choice.
Yeah.
He lost all his probes anyways.
You can't go back.
Jaedong going for the focus of the third. Will he get it? I don't think so. The Stalkers are going to chop down most of this. The natural is gone, though, and the main has been routed. Oh, it's actually really close at the third.
I think Mutas are going to come in and finish the job.
Oh, Zerglings! No! And down goes the Nexus. 2 hero Zerglings bring it down. Jaedong is inside the main with an army of Hydras. He's going to focus on that Nexus as well, which means the Protoss will be revealed. He has 400 minerals, and he does have a probe. He's got 4, in fact, so rebuilding is possible. Oh, and he actually keeps the main safe.
I kind of worry for Jaedong at this point, because we could see a super hardcore kind of counterattack.
He's making spine crawlers with the natural. This is a very good thing.
Yeah, very, very
He's got a lot of Mutalisk out, by the way. Unit count is 24 Mutas. I think Jaedong's sitting pretty damn pretty.
He's sitting pretty. We'll have to wait and see. He's got to get over to the other side of the map and start trading with these buildings again. He's got to keep Classic on his side of the map.
He cannot fight the army. If he fights the army, he throws his game away. And it looks like he knows that.
And I mean, the spine crawlers are only going to slow down Classic. They're not going to stop him whatsoever. No. Good that he has Zerglings on the map as well. So,
Colossus find the Zerglings. It's nice.
Oh, every single Zergling went down to those Colossi. That's sad. So that's a lot of actually building damage that went down as well.
And here we go. He's going to come up against those spine crawlers. He needs to wait for the Colossus, and meanwhile, the Mutalisk are looking to kind of harry the backfield of this army. Gets the reinforcing pylon, and it's going to make its way for that full base trade. The main base is barely mining. There's only 3 probes there. And Jaedong just has to hold on. Now, keep in mind, did drones make it out? Yes, there's 3 drones on the right side of the map. So Jaedong will have the ability to do the true base trade, and he's going to need to.
Yeah, he's going to need to for sure, because his natural and main are going to go down at this point, but he has enough DPS on the other side of the map. That Classic's in a horrible position, and I think he just simply does not have enough map awareness.
He might get enough Mutilis to take this on, actually.
Maybe, if it keeps going the way it is.
He's made so many. Unit count shows 34 Mutilis with 2 more on the way.
Yeah, that is
The main
insane.
base is gone. It's gotten to the point where after he kills this Nexus, he can leave the Lings to finish that off and pull the Mutilis back. And that'll just buy him enough time, hopefully. That's, if you're a Jaedong fan, that's what you're hoping for right now.
Yeah, he's just looking for the probes, looking for the buildings on the map. Once he's got rid of every single building in the main and natural, he's pretty much gonna, I think, like, the best way to do it is you kind of let the Zerglings finish up the last few buildings while your Mutas fly towards the Protoss army and deals with these last probes.
One probe up by the army. It's sitting between the creep. It's the one that's going to build a Nexus here in a second to stop the reveal. There it is. Nexus outside of Jaedong's base. Overlords have a giant exodus out of here. It's 90 supply to 91. A couple of supply just slipped here, but it's very close. Spire actually dies, by the way. Nice target there. But here, I mean, these Mutilis are going to move out, and again, you can't split up the Stalkers. That's the really scary situation here for our Protoss player. He needs every single one of them, and even then, it might be kind of a close fight.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what would be amazing if we saw Classic put down, get out some DTs while this was all happening. That would actually just win the game, actually, right now. And that's something that a lot of Zerg players don't think about in times like this. It can actually do a lot of damage if you don't have any Overseers out while that layer is going down.
And here we go. He builds a pylon as well. He's got a lot of work at him. It's at 8 supply with 90 over, so this is a supply block of sorts.
Yep.
Mito's sharking around. I don't think they actually know about the Nexus. They do not. They don't know where it is.
He's
going to see it from the high ground.
He's about to find out.
Sees it now.
Well, hot damn.
He's got to watch that blink. I mean, everything Classic does is so careful right now. He could blink up there, sure, but then he doesn't have a blink to defend. I mean, without blink to blink back the wounded Stalkers, he might lose to these Mutas. These are +2 attack Mutas, numbering in at 35. That's a lot.
That is, he could essentially right-click down the buildings at this point. If he got rid of every probe on the map and right-click down these buildings, even while the Stalkers were underneath
thinking about it, but he's mining. You know,
he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to.
He can play a macro game from here, and there's no way Classic can get across the map and
look
deal
at
with
Classic.
it.
He's mining one frickin' probe there.
Yeah, he's in a horrible position.
He can make 2 pylons in a second, and then he's got to wait forever. I actually did the math. It is forever.
Yeah, it actually is forever. Infinity time is what it takes. Oh, these Colossi. All position. Got to be careful, Jaedong. Do not want to lose any Muta whatsoever.
Yeah, it's funny. He could kill 3 Colossus, but if you lose like 5 Mutas, it's a great trade for Classic.
Yeah, absolutely.
On some level. Right now, they're more of like they're kind of like a tease. Like, hey, come after these Colossus, and then blink under and pick off 2 or 3 Mutas. And if he can do that enough times, he can get to a point where he could split off the Stalkers.
Yeah, just maybe. I mean, I'm sure he wants to mine enough minerals so he can move across the map eventually, trade his Nexus and Pylon for whatever he can get. While
here he goes. He's thinking about it.
Yeah.
He's splitting up.
He's got to make something happen because he knows he's on a timer.
And this drone will be spotted in the high ground above. It sees that there's a Nexus there. It might have actually even seen the Pylon. It does not. Jaedong knows this is the Nexus. That's it. If the army was more active out on the map, he might suspect there's enough money to continue to build, which is, by the way, a consideration. That's actually Classic's only move the more I think about it. He's mining for this because he doesn't have much else. He's looking for a blink under the Mutas. But eventually he just has to say, okay, we're going. And then he builds, a pylon or 2 with his army and hopes to win an engagement against Jaedong.
Exactly.
If Jaedong just stays committed to the counterattack, though, and kills buildings.
Yeah, as long as he's very, very patient while he's just macroing casually, goes back into Muta production, it's only going to get scarier and scarier for Classic. To the point where Jaedong can just actually fight these Stalkers straight up and end the game.
Hold on. Hey, hang on there.
Oh, my goodness.
Almost found the Colossus, but also almost found himself underneath a blink.
Yeah, I mean, if you get rid of these Colossi, you're going to win with Muta and Ling. Yeah. Easy, simple as that. If you get rid of the Colossi, you can attack.
Yeah.
So, Classic's will be very careful
up a little bit. They got to be careful here. 2 supply died somewhere. A Stalker died somewhere.
Yeah, I think we saw the Mutas pick off a Stalker a little bit earlier here.
Okay.
Ooh, Colossi, awkward position.
Finds Lings.
Got the Zerglings there.
These are, it's 3 attack upgrade, by the way, for the Protoss. No armor, no shield. Mutilis have 2 attack upgrade, and the Zerglings are at 1 melee, 2 armor. So
that's actually pretty good, too.
Yeah, it's all pretty comparable, I would say. Nobody has a clear advantage that way. The big thing here is Jaedong's right side base. It's got spine crawlers. It's becoming a lair. The Observer found it, by the way.
He found it, but what is he going to do about it? Oh, Jaedong starting to trade with the Stalkers here. Got to be careful, but he does have a lot of Mutas.
He loses 2 Mutas for a single Stalker. Not a good trade. If that continues to go that way, Classic could have options. For right now, it's all Jaedong. I mean, I'm not going to make it sound like this is close, guys. 3 Colossus are going across the map. And they're going to have to contend with the spine cross. It's kind of the annoying thing, but this is the catalyst.
This
the probe comes out.
This is it.
It has enough for 3 pylons. If Jaedong gets the probe,
get the probe.
He needs to get the probe. Oh, he does not get the probe. It pulls back and stays alive. That means Classic's chances stay alive with it. He's pushing over here. Jaedong's going to swing in with the Zerglings. They're going to get a surround. The base trade is going to be afoot, but does Jaedong buy the bait? Does he go in here and fight the Stalkers?
I think from here, he can just kill these pylons. If he focuses down the pylons, he wins. That's all there is to it at this point, but does Jaedong want to take that risk? He doesn't know what pylons are on the map, what probes are on the map.
The drones can't escape. He's got a drone out. He builds a hatchery there. The backfield is destroyed. 100 minerals remain for a Protoss player. He built the 2 pylons here, which means he's fairly immobile. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, he's completely...
Drones pulled back. They're hiding on the right side of that base. And all of a sudden, Classic might actually just be pinned over here. He's going to have to take this probe and replay this move.
Yeah.
But to your point, he can just right-click through the buildings at that point. Pylons die so quick.
They die. They will die from one volley from these munitions, especially because they're next to each other. And Jaedong's actually going to go for it here.
He's going for it. 1 pylon down. The second pylon down. And that's it. He doesn't get the 3rd pylon down. Jaedong wins 2-1. And with that, he gives himself a hell of a chance at playing at BlizzCon. Congratulations, defeating Classic 2-1.
What a game. That is actually really impressive. That is a huge feat, defeating Classic, the player that defeated Su in the GSL Grand Finals.
The GSL champion, guys. The previous one, actually. We're going to come up on a new one.
Yeah.
As it's new players there. But
that's very true.
Jaedong will advance to the round of 8, and he did suffer his first loss, but I guess you can accept that if it's at the hands of Classic. What a great series. It does go 2-1 in favor of the Evil Geniuses player. We had some Swarm hosts, we had Mutalisk, we had Tears.
Base trades,
we hugged.
Very, very intense. We did hug.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, I'm so happy that the fan favorite won. And we did go through a game 3. So very, very happy.
Great series, guys. Hopefully you are pumped as we are as well. We've got other matches going on in those community streams, so if you're interested in checking them out, go there as well. But we're approaching the round of 8 as these wrap up, and then we're going to start the show in the round of 4. So lots of exciting StarCraft coming up for you guys. Make sure and give some love to our sponsors and hashtag DHOpen, as well as Road to BlizzCon, as we're keeping track of all those things. So thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, it's probably going to be 4 fantastic people talking about StarCraft as we set up the next match. We'll see you guys soon. Good job, buddy.